You don't have two-step verification. You got right in there. Good for you.
Don't they have a commercial,
Mine
an
has to
insurance
talk to my
commercial
phone.
where the soccer ball
I have to
hits
get
the,
a code.
Yeah.
runs into the
I do.
other
I
vehicle?
like the one where the guy's riding
Them
a
just
riding
too, I have to
lawnmower
tell
and
them.
he's
You don't have to either.
got his headphones on. He's
Interesting.
complaining about his dad, and he's driving through the rocks, and they're all blasting toward the sliding glass doors and all that stuff.
Sketchy, remember the unsafe ones. It's funny.
I've hard enough time with no steps,
Yeah,
kid.
they leave you.
I think if they
Put your
just
phone
spent
out,
less
that might be
money
the world is out.
on advertising for insurance, we could all save like, a bunch of money.
Yeah. They've gotta have a big budget.
Well, I mean, just look at State Farm, and what do you think it takes to get Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and the coach, and I'm sure they don't do that for nothing.
Right. We'd be on there for free.
That gecko makes a lot of money.
Yeah, that little lizard, I can't believe it went out of here. You should see that mansion he lives in. It's about like that.
Oh, boy.
Must have a lot of books checked over.
You started, I'm gonna go. We're not waiting for anybody, so we can, all right? We'll call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody, to the work session. I have nothing to do on this one today, so I'll turn it over to Jonathan. Your show, Ace.
Yeah, well, welcome to this November meeting here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the weather it feels like. No, just some quick updates on some things that we're kind of talking about, looking at for next year, and some things that are coming up in the summer. So a lot of what I'll be sharing with you is our proposals, things in the works that will come back to you for adoption at a later time, but want to just keep you updated. Over the summer, I'm going to be looking kind of heavily at some of our security procedures that we have at the school, the ins and the outs that monitoring for people entering and exiting the building. Right now, we have at least 9 points of entry where people regularly come in and out of things, and we like to restrict that a little bit more, tighten that up a little bit more, just to make sure that we are aware of where our students are going at all times, who's coming in and out of the building at all times. And some of that is going to be by updating some policies and the processes that we do. Some might be looking at some technology to monitor some of the doors a little bit better with that. We're also looking at graduation requirements, and that's a sheet that you have at the top is blackened out, and I'll fill you in a little bit on that. But we've been looking at this for quite a while, is that our students can take 24 credits for graduation, but at the time we've only been requiring 22 credits. And it's caused a little bit of problems where sometimes students feel like the other 2 credits are kind of optional, that they don't need to work very hard in them. They can skip those classes, they can fail those classes. And I don't think that's the type of institution that we want to be. And so we've been kind of talking about getting that up to 24 credits. But how do we do that? Because the spring 24 on our junior class, saying that now you have to have 24 credits to graduate, it might not be possible to get that. So what you see there is kind of a phase-in period that starting next year, 12th graders, they would need at least 23 credits to graduate. Then the next following year, 23 and a half. up to 24. So that's kind of a phase in, so that when kids start coming into the high school, they will know they need to have those 24 credits. And some of the things that we're looking at is we want to make sure we have good quality credits to offer them, and that gets into that scheduling and what are the course offerings that that we have. So we don't have students, in order to get those credits, they're taking 4 or 5 Phi-Ed classes, to get through it. That we want to make sure we have quality pieces there.
Can I ask a question on that then?
No.
Okay. I'll divert it to my Monday meeting. I'll divert it to my Monday meeting. Just, we talk about good quality classes. When they hit their when they hit the requirement of English and math and social studies, and then what? I mean, that would be my concern. Is we require 24, but then you're going to get 3 teaching assistants, 4 Phi-Eds, or 3 Phi-Eds and 3 T. Is there something that once they hit that, or they're going to go do post-secondary outside of, or not post-secondary, on-the-job training basically, where you leave and go to work?
Yep, we do have a teacher that now will be available to help us implement some work study programs at the high school level. That it doesn't have to come out of the ALP for that. We have Lisa Toff that is going to be teaching some child development classes this next year, to have those coming back. And those are some of those areas that we're going to have to try to stretch in the future, trying to get those FACS programs up and running, try to get those business offerings available. And that gets tight when you have a tight budget and licensing requirements and stuff. But those are some of the things that we're going to have to get very creative to do. Some of where they're going to get those classes, Chris, is you still have, we're members of Infinity Online, there's PSEO, there's the CIS courses. So some of those things they will be able to take through different options, but we want to try to make sure is that we have them here. Those are great opportunities for kids, but I feel like it's the best opportunity for Pine River Bacchus if we're able to have them here. And so that's when we want to make sure that we're able to do some of those things with that. And in doing that, by having them eventually be required to have 24 credits, we're looking at our credit recovery options. Right now, we have the after-school credit recovery offerings at the ALP that is on Tuesdays. We have summer school scheduled classes sessions through June, July, and August. That's all set for credit recovery. They're not attended very well. And that's where sometimes we have our students that dig themselves in the hole, and they will not access those opportunities available to them to get out, because it's kind of a little bit on their time. I don't want to burn my summer days. I don't want to stay after school. So we're looking at ways in which you've heard me talk about a 0 hour before. And so we're looking at ways in which we might be able to start offering that 0 hour, which would be from 8 o'clock to 8:25 every day, where we would have a teacher that would be paid, 1 or 2 teachers from that 8 to 8:25 time, in addition, because they'd be teaching kids. And our kind of plan that we're kind of talking about is, if you fail a class in the first semester, you're required to start making that up in 0 hour second semester right away. You fail something in second semester and you don't make it up after school or in the summer, then the first semester of the following year, you're required to be there and make that up. And it's kind of a way that we want to try to help our kids not dig a hole for themselves, that all of a sudden they get to their senior year and, oh, I don't have enough credits to graduate, or I can't walk in the graduation because I'm going to have to come back the next summer to do it. We want to make sure that we're on top of this and enforcing this all the time, and also in a way of that we can make sure that our kids stay eligible for their activities that they want to do. And we're trying to build it up to where if we got to walk you from the bus to 0 hour, we'll walk you from bus to 0 hour to get those credits and keep you updated with some things. Our buses arrive, if they ride the bus, they come, all of them, 8 o'clock every day. That's why we picked that 8 o'clock start time. If they drive on their own, they can be here by 8 o'clock every day. It's what they're going to choose to do. But again, that's just something we're kind of looking at. We got to work on the staffing of it, see if we got people that are interested in it. But it's an option to make sure that they get their work done. And I think they need to hear that message from us, that this is important. That Pine River is gonna stand for a little bit more than saying, it's okay to fail a couple classes. I don't like that.
Does all the students know at the end of, like, do all the 11th graders know and 10th graders know that they need, if they don't have enough credits or they don't have enough, that they can come in? Is there a note going home? Are we sending something?
We will be sending some to them. Right now, like I said, you are the first ones really seeing this. We're gonna have to talk about this with the high school teachers and see if we can get this. It's still in that planning stages. We'll bring this forward to you because this will be part of the high school handbook. That will be part of policy, and to talk a little bit more specifically on that. But we want our kids to succeed, and so we're gonna build a program that gives them every opportunity to do that.
So this year wouldn't be summer school because we wouldn't be enacting this until,
Summer school and the ALP after school are already exist.
okay.
The only one that would be in addition to would be that 0 hour, but everything else is already there.
That's what I was just asking, is that, listen, if they know that they're starting as a junior, or they're finishing as a junior, and they've already got 2 classes they already have to make up, that they know that they can come in and, again, not that they choose to do that,
Yep.
but. Cause Sue came in, I don't remember, it's been a few years, but that was the whole thing, is getting them, making sure parents know, grandparents know, aunts and uncle, everybody knows that right now you're at risk for not walking.
Yep, and if we get these things going, we'll be sending information home throughout, for the parents, because another one that we're taking a look at, the blackened out one, just because we don't have it all worked out yet, is we want to do something with our absentee policy. You know, with it, right now, if a student misses, correct me if I'm wrong, Jolene, but I believe it's 14 days, we drop them. They're no longer considered part of Pine River Back at Schools if they miss 14 consecutive days of school. We get some that walk a very, very thin line on that, you know, that 13 days and then they'll pop back for a day. Well, you're not gonna make progress doing that. You're not gonna be successful in your classrooms, and so we wanna make sure that our parents know and our students know that that's not acceptable. So we're looking at ways in which we can beef up our attendance policy. You know, even for, hey, I'm in school, but I'm skipping classes. I'm tardy to class. I'm tardy to class every day. Well, what are you gonna do about it? This is, we're in kind of some discussions on what can we do about it, because again, they're not gonna be successful if they're not in the class. And so, one of the things that we already do is we recognize them at their grade level for their credits, not their age. So if you're not passing these classes, you know, you might be 18 years old and thinking you're a senior, but you only have junior credits, we're gonna be counting you as a junior, not as a senior. And we will keep you posted on how we develop with that one.
So when you say drop them as a student, one of the things that confuses me is when Sue talks about, it's always against her.
Better judgment?
No, she gets credit, or she gets, whether they graduate or not, they're over there. She can't drop them because they're over an ALP, and so it goes against our standard of how many kids graduate. So if we start, how come we can't drop them over there then?
We can drop them over there. The difference is they're an independent study piece, so, you know, they might be coming in only 1 day a week, but they still need to show continuous involvement, continuous improvement, and moving over there. After so many days, we can drop them over there as well. So when people are thinking that ALP, oh, that's a free pass, I never need to show up. That's not the way.
But then does that affects our graduation?
Our graduation rate.
So
Yep.
if we drop them, doesn't matter if we drop them or not, it still affects our graduation rate.
Because they were with us during that cohort graduation group. They didn't graduate when they should have
Okay.
graduated. And because the state doesn't want to basically give us money for kids that aren't here, so they kind of have it in their statute that after that 14 days, we're supposed to drop them because they're no longer considered attending.
So it's actually a state
state mandate.
Yep, yeah, that's not our
That's our- yeah,
that's not
right.
our policy, that's
Yeah.
by the state.
Because they just don't wanna pay for them.
Yep,
I mean,
if they're
because
not coming to
getting
school,
anything, yeah.
and that's where we always want the county to help out, and they've been better, but we need that backup to say, where are they? They're not attending school, they're habitually truant. If they're not coming here, where are they? If they said they're going to, I'll use Cross Lake Charter for example. If they say they're going to Cross Lake Charter, have they enrolled? Is somebody checking up on them? Because we'll tell them they haven't been with us for so long, and we have to drop them after 14 days. Then hopefully somebody's checking up on them and saying,
Yeah.
"Where are you?"
Do they have an actual system for the homeschool? Keep track of them?
Nope,
I didn't think so.
nope. And
You
that's
can just fall right off the.
you fill out
right
the
off
form, you
rail.
turn it into us here at the school, and you say that you're homeschooling. And we brought
That's
that
what
up
I
with
thought.
our area's legislatures when we met with them down at Lobby Day. Is you have nothing in place for homeschool.
No.
You know, some families might do a great job, and some are just, avoiding
Just
it.
give them a
and-
free pass. And
And sometimes those are families we get back, and we now have to put them in our intervention programs or something else because they haven't made the
Behind.
reading gains or the math gains that they should have. Good question.
How many credits do we have to have legally? Do
Um,
they have to have? Is it
legally, I don't know.
22?
I don't
Or-
know if there's a set amount legally because it kind of depends on how you set up your school system. Whether you have
Okay.
7 periods a day, how many classes you
There
want to
isn't a
offer.
formula that says you have to, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah. But ours is built for 24 credits
Mm-hmm.
as a full-time student. All right, any other questions on that? The only, you're all aware but, of this, but since our last meeting, we lost a student to a tragic accident, Kayla Kendrick, on May 9th. Pretty devastating to the family and to her friends and our senior class and staff. And our staff were, when we need to activate the crisis team that we have here, they know right what to do. So our partners with Northern Pines and our youth and family services worker, Olivia Becker and Autumn Logie, just did a fantastic job meeting the needs of the kids and running triage, keeping track of check-in lists, and did a great job to help. And they're still here, available to kids if they need them. But for a couple days, had a crisis plan in place. So loss will be felt. I had a chance to visit with Dad yesterday and got an update on Kayla's mom and stuff. So it was.
Will we do something to her graduation?
They're talking about it on a good way of recognizing her. Keeping it as a celebratory time
Mhm.
for all the students, but knowing that our class as a whole, we have a body missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I will end my report there.
Who's talking about the trust land?
Me. So, because I'm very enthusiastic about property taxes across the board, I tend to look up properties and different things when they come across, like if someone calls me about their property taxes, I'm going to Google you and I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna figure out, kind of what your situation is. And in doing that, I was looking up the school district property tax statements, and there's a little piece of 2-acre property up in Deerfield Township that belongs to the school.
Surprise.
News to me. Right. So, I did some research and I contacted the Cass County property people, and I did my Google research as well. So school trust lands have started from the federal government, and when Minnesota became a state in 1858, the federal government granted sections 16 and 36 of every township, or their equivalent, to the state for the use of schools. So there's a tiny little 2-acre piece of property up on State 87 that says ISD 1, Cass County, That's us. So the property is currently listed at 24,000 for that 2 acres, which is probably not especially accurate, but we don't pay property taxes on it, so it never was on the radar. I have had people contact me recently asking what we plan to do with the property and if we'd be willing to get rid of it. So I'm giving you a heads up that I'm probably going to be doing some research as to what our options are, because I don't foresee the need for 2 acres of property for us up there. Doesn't do us a lot of good.
Yep.
So
Build a
whether
very
we-
tall, very skinny building.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we have options though, because that land to the south of Bites is also school property. And I've talked to whoever I could find about, purchasing some of that or leasing some when we had to expand our sewer and stuff. And it's there and probably nothing anybody could ever do about it.
Which school district is it listed to?
Ours.
I'm gonna look into it.
Okay.
Start
The
Googling.
only-
Wilson
the only
Township.
The only 2 properties that were still existing that hadn't been deeded back to the township were, we had a strip of alleyway here in town where the old school used to be before it
Right.
burned down.
Yep.
There was a tiny little strip of alley. There's a row of
No, I
townhomes.
wasn't there. Quit looking at me.
A row of townhomes and a personal residence, and there was one strip that was about 100 feet or something. And the only reason we found out about that one was because the city of Pine River called us and said, we've been maintaining this and taking care of it, do you have any use for it? And you pull it up on a map and it's an alley this big. No, so we ended up just deeding that back, quit claiming it to the city, but this one, 2 acres of hayfield is 2 acres of hayfield, so.
Didn't they used to do that so that it could generate revenue for schools somehow back in the day?
Probably.
I don't remember though how, but I thought that's how or why they did it, was a way to generate revenue for schools, but.
Problem is that could have been, but now that everything gets to be, tax exempt. Like I said, we don't pay deeded to land to that exempt, it's all exempt, so the only way that you can do that is then now to sell it.
Right.
And, that was great, cause I'm sure in 1864, it was $3.43, and now it's listed at 24,000.
So part of the attachments that I put with this agenda item has the actual postcard from 1906 when the land was deeded to us. July
read that.
17th, 1906.
Melby.
John T. Melby, to School District 1. It amazes me that they can find records like this, but I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna look into it and I'm gonna see what our options are.
Found out we might have a surplus of land down there by Rogers' old
Yeah,
place too.
Roger's
I
looking.
I did look up all of them according to the property tax statements from Cass County, and that one does not pop up, so I'll do some more digging. But just a heads up, and I might come to you with suggestions of how we can either
Satellite offices
Sell
in
or-
Deerfield.
Settle.
Yeah, it's my fun fact for today.
Her office?
Thank you.
All right. The next item is, we're gonna close the meeting per Minnesota State Law 13D.03 subdivision 3. Meeting will be closed in order to consider strategy labor negotiations for Pine River Backus Education, Minnesota, and Service Employees International Union 284.